At first, I didn't think it was real. I woke up to this blinding light, and I was transported to another place. Pluto TV! Then I heard a voice.
Come with me if you want to live.
There were thousands of movies and shows, and they were all free.
Truth is ours.
It's just so beautiful.
On Pluto TV, free streaming of Terminator 2, Fringe, Arrow, The 100, and The X-Files may cause excitement, loss of sleep, and sudden belief in extraterrestrials. No credit cards or alien encounters necessary. Pluto TV. Stream now, pay never.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome to Birds of the Round Table. Today, we are reacting to A.J. Brown finally traded to the New England Patriots. We're talking some Myles Garrett. We're talking some Jared Verse, but we're also talking our top 3 reasons why the Philadelphia Eagles will win the 2026 Super Bowl. We're also going to play a Keep 3, Cut 3 game where we give these guys 6 players. They don't know what player comes next, and they have to decide to keep them or cut them. Joining us, he is Ryan Reese at Philly Sports PSA. What's up, Ryan?
Not much. Just glad, as much as I am sad today, I'm glad that the drama is over, past us, and we can move on towards training camp and getting this season started.
Also joining us, David Neese, PHL on X. What's going on, David?
Nothing much, man. Like Ryan said, really big day, 100 days to the start of the season. So pretty close, man. Just 100 more days. The NFL never ends, man.
Never.
It's just
and may
constantly turning.
The Lord bless it, and may it never end ever.
As always, guys, if you're watching us live, throw your comments in the chat. We'll throw them on the screen, react with us. But we got to jump like Reddit clips right now. Top 3 reasons the Eagles win the Super Bowl. The Rams won't win the Super Bowl. The Rams have Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett is in L.A., and the Rams traded for Myles Garrett. Oh, here we go.
The Rams are super overrated.
We'll get to that. Let's jump into the Eagles finally trading A.J. Brown to the New England Patriots, a 2028 first-round pick and a 2027 fifth-rounder. If that's correct, throw it to you, David. What was your instant reaction?
I mean, honestly, it's probably different than most people's, but it's just kind of like a sadness almost, man. I mean, he was just such an impactful player, such a good person. I know everybody's going to have their own opinions of how they think this went down and he quit on the team or however you looked at, what happened last year. But he's a guy, in my opinion, who, came here, won a championship, 4 straight playoff appearances, 2 trips to the Super Bowl. He was one of the more beloved players on the team. He was, very respectful, open to discussing anything, including issues much bigger than football. They paid, a 1 and a 3 to get him 4 years ago. They get a 1 and a 5 back 4 years later. And in between, you get the Super Bowl, 5,000 yards and 32 touchdowns. I mean, it's pretty impressive. There's no losers here. I do feel it was time for it to happen, but that's what's kind of makes it a little conflicting. You're sad and happy all at the same time. I mean, the Eagles had to turn the page. Anytime somebody's uncomfortable there and they can find a way to accommodate them, they're going to do it. Howie told you he put his foot in the sand, needed a first. They wanted to give a 2 and a 4 in 2027. And, when you have the job security Howie does, you can wait till 2028 and get the 1. Pick whatever it'll be. And 2 years from now, just say it's pick 20 is probably a lot better, than pick 58. So I think he did the right thing. I know some people question that as well, but all in all, I think, it's a little sad. It's not as, as disruptive as the Terrell Owens, as you guys might remember when that happened. This was a lot more amicable. And I guess the best part is that you just move on and don't have to talk about this anymore because it's been a thorn in everyone's side for the past 4 or 5 months.
Yeah. Agreed. Reddit clips piggybacks off that, saying, so glad the AJ saga is done. Sad it ended the way it did, but hyped to see the Heisman as the number 1. What about you, Ron?
Yeah, I'm kind of with David here. You see a lot of online anger towards AJ, and Yeah, it's unfortunate that people have kind of, that this has dragged on so long, and AJ has been just dragged through the mud, through the media, that people have this opinion of him. Yeah, it from the looks of it, the ending didn't look great, and he had a bad game, and I don't see it as he quit on the team. I don't see any of that, and it's a sad day. This guy had the best 4-year run as a wide receiver in franchise history. There is no debating that. The best 4-year run. And, David mentioned some stats, and again, we have been starved in this town at wide receiver many, many years. And I know that, all three of us have been through it. The Todd Pinkston era, the James, Trash era. I could go on. Nah, Brown, and I won't because I'll just make myself depressed. But AJ was a physical, dominant receiver that we're probably not going to see here in Eagle Green for quite some time. And it's sad. It has to be. Now, you have this up on the screen of how the grading of it. I think had Howie not had to kind of wait post June 1, the compensation would have been probably a first and a second, in all honesty. I think the more time that went through, I think the worse it got. I mean, you look at the Jalen Waddle trade from Miami to Denver. They got a first and a third, and they swapped fourths. Let's be honest. No offense to Jalen Waddle, but A.J. Brown, is not in the same ballpark as Jalen Waddle. The Jalen Waddle wishes. So, unfortunately, I think it was more timing than anything, and I'm glad Howie got a first. And what's great about it is we can kind of forget about it. We forget about it for 2 years, and then it's like, what? Oh, hey, all right, we got this extra pick. Great. So now we're just going to root for the New England Patriots downfall in 2 years. I can't wait. Rooting against somebody is just as fun as rooting for somebody.
I'm so glad you didn't add Greg Lewis to that list. You would have problems.
Believe me, I could have, but he was like the number 2 to Todd Pinkston.
It's bittersweet. It's mixed emotions. Like everyone said, I'm glad he's gone, but I'm also happy to see him get what he wants because he's been such an impactful player for Philadelphia. We have a question from Brett Eclipse. Would you guys consider AJ the best receiver in franchise history? Just like a year ago, we were literally talking about that here on Birds of the Roundtable. Is he better than T.O.? And it's just crazy how the NFL works from year to year. But
I personally wouldn't, just because again, longevity does matter in my eyes. That I agree. I would probably have him third, if I'm just kind of off the top. Carmichael, Quick, and then AJ.
Yeah, but it's the silver lining. You've got Devontae Smith, who I think is going to truly become wide receiver 1. I think he's been wide receiver 1. He just hasn't had a fair shake at it. And as someone who loves the NFL draft process, that first round pick, as excited as I am about it, A.J. Brown takes away one of Jalen Hurts' best elements in his game, his deep ball. And that's what A.J. Brown, against man coverage was so elite at. So that's worth talking about. It's worth talking about. We don't know what this Eagles offense will look like in 2026. And he was clearly not happy here last year. I don't know. But change is probably for the best. I hate to see him go to the Patriots, but I wish him nothing but the best.
Agreed.
Nothing but the best.
Ill will.
None at all.
Just to the Patriots in general.
And I'm not taking my Sixers hat off. Moving forward to Myles Garrett to the freaking LA Rams for Jared Verse and a first round pick, which was a big shock.
From what I heard, it's a first, a second, and a third.
Is it really? Jesus, I didn't even know. I didn't see that part.
Yeah, they
But
overpaid.
they definitely overpaid. The Rams are a unique beast. They're in a short, probably 1 to 2 year window with Matthew Stafford as he gets ready to ride into the sunset. We all know Myles Garrett's a Hall of Famer, sack leader, defensive player of the year. With an elite defense, they're probably in the Super Bowl. This is one of those deals. I actually really like it for both squads. I think Myles Garrett is, if not the best defensive player of my lifetime. I think that's a conversation. But I think it's also like Jared Verse is not in the same stratosphere as Myles Garrett.
Yeah.
But I think there is an element to the Philadelphia Eagles that we can say, at least we're not going to be going up against Jared Verse, 5 years from now. So what are your quick thoughts, Ryan?
Yeah, I had kind of heard rumblings kind of all week that something was going on. And, when the news officially broke, I wasn't necessarily shocked, but yeah, I mean, I get it for both sides. Obviously the Rams are looking at their window as much smaller. And, they know that once Matthew Stafford is off this team, they're going to go back to, mediocrity. And so they traded who Jared Verse, again, he may be an a-hole, but he's a great player. And they traded his youth for, an upgrade in talent. Now, do I think Jared Verse could become the next, Myles Garrett down the line? Absolutely. But, they're in win now mode. And, they're obviously a lot of things have to go right for the Rams for that to happen. But I think they had to overpay for him because they knew that probably the Eagles and, Cowboys and probably whoever else were probably lining up to offer, just as much. So I get it.
My sources say the Rams saw Ty Simpson play briefly and said, this is not it. We need to win right now in these next 2 years because this ain't it.
Oh, man, Ty Simpson catches strays. That's messed up.
I do not like Ty Simpson at all. David, what was your quick thoughts, reaction?
Yeah, I mean, I think Myles Garrett is a generational talent. I mean, he's up there in the same conversation as Reggie White 30 plus years ago. I lean Reggie White, but today's, it's like LeBron, Michael Jordan. I mean, it just depends on what area you're from, but he's that good. And the Eagles were in this thing all the way to the end. The difference is the Rams were willing to give up the one player who the Browns wanted and the Eagles weren't. The Eagles weren't going to give up Jalen Carter, but I think that they were completely willing to give up Nolan Smith and or Jalix Hunt and a couple of ones to make this happen. To weaponize Myles Garrett to his fullest potential, much like the deal when they tried to get Micah Parsons last year, is Jalen Carter's the other part of that makes that so dynamic of a, beast to bring him in. So you would kind of lose some of what Myles Garrett could do if Jalen Carter's not on that team. So I don't blame the Eagles for not wanting to move Jalen Carter, and I don't blame the Browns for taking Jared Verse in a 1, 2, and a 3 over Nolan Smith and 2 1s. I think it was fair for both sides. I think the Browns got good value, and the Rams, they're run very differently than Eagles fans are used to seeing with Howie Roseman. They pretty much coined the phrase "F those picks." They could care less about that. And we talk like the Rams will be in hell in 2 years when Matt Stafford leaves, but he when he leaves, he also frees up $50 million. They could go out and buy another quarterback. I mean, it doesn't completely have to end that quick. They're a pretty clever team, and that GM has proven to be pretty savvy. So,
they did just up their salary cap. Trading a rookie contract Verse for Myles Garrett, who's the highest paid, guy. So,
absolutely, they did. But they'll do some wizardry like Howie does in 2 years.
I mean, but you're right. They literally since 2017 have had
all the picks.
I think has had 2 picks, and they just they traded both of them. They traded, they traded Verse I think back, they traded Goff whenever that was, 2016, I guess, or whatever it was. Yeah, so they don't even when they pick them, they eventually trade it.
Yeah, they operate very differently, and
but they also have the
they've
second
hit
most wins in that time period. in the
yes,
NFL.
and they hit on their draft picks as frequently as Howie does. I mean, Puka
Number one right
Nacua.
here, by the way.
What round was he picked in?
Six, I think.
Something. Yeah, I mean, they've hit on some really big studs over the years. So what
Good
they're
defense.
doing works. So it's hard to fault them. And if you give Stafford 2 shots at a Super Bowl with Myles Garrett, it's a huge win for them if they win it one of the 2 years.
Yeah.
We'd all trade the same thing. We'd trade Jalen Hunt for a Super Bowl too. I mean, it's just
without a doubt. Myles Garrett is the one guy you go all
generational talent.
Yeah, no doubt.
But I'm with you though. I think the upgrade of trading away Jalen Carter was that's too much for me. I think
Jalen in a one.
It's a lot.
It is. Yeah, it is. And you lose, like I said, you lose that, people say, oh, you could just roll with the Jomo and Deibs.
No, there's a difference. That you
no offense.
Add Garrett with Jalen Carter.
Yes.
And Jordan Davis and a Jomo and Greenway. Okay, that's the best front four in the league, bar none.
Yes. And no offense to a Jomo, but there's a reason he was in the 7th round and Jalen Carter was the 7th or 8th player in the draft.
Exactly. Right. Brett Eclipse says, I would trade my kidney for Myles Garrett.
I would trade your kidney for Myles Garrett too.
All right, any final thoughts on that before we roll into our next our main segment?
But it has to be one of the wildest days in NFL trade history.
Yeah, right?
I mean, that's
crazy.
Pretty crazy.
Now, I just wanted to say F the Rams.
Yeah. And we see them in October in Philly again, man. They love that matchup.
I cannot wait for that game.
By the way, the NFC East the NFC West is absolutely a bloodbath.
I mean, you take the Cardinals out of it, the rest of them are, whew.
Yeah, the hope is they all beat each other up before the playoffs start, but that is rough. Let's get to our main segment of the night, our top 3 reasons why the Eagles win the Super Bowl in 2026. Just a quick recap. We did some previous content, our most underrated, including Moro Jomo, a safety to be determined, which I think is still on the dock. Why the Eagles offense will dominate, top 3 reasons. We also did breakout stars on offense and defense and things like that. And tonight we are jumping into our top 3 reasons the Eagles are yet again Super Bowl champs. If you're in the comments, let us know what your thoughts are. David, lead us off. What is your number 3?
My number 3 is that the defense is overwhelming again. With the young core that they have there, with another year of experience being thrown into the mix, and you add a pass rush specialist like Jonathan Grenard, I think they're just going to have overwhelming speed. They can just keep throwing fastballs like we mentioned with Nolan and Jalix and Grenard, and the interior pressure that they have with the 3 we just discussed with the Jomo, JD, and Carter. The defense could turn games into track meets trying to get to the quarterback, man. And just as they did during stretches of the 2024 season, during that Super Bowl run, they can just keep throwing these fastballs at you. And I think one thing that came out of the OTAs that was pretty interesting was the defensive players stating how Fangio added another layer to the defense. So he's unleashed even more parts of his, wizardry. So I am all for seeing how that plays out, and I just think that they're going to be, one of the top 2 or 3 defenses in the league. And we didn't even mention Reek Woolen on the other side. I mean, it's unbelievable what they've done, really. And Reek allows Fangio to open a whole lot of different things up.
Just to piggyback off of that, sorry, Ryan, but I'm going to just go next. That was my number 2, and that is Vic Fangio is a golden god. I think after Jonathan Grenard, the biggest storyline this offseason, arguably, is Vic Fangio saying he's here for another 1 to 2 years. And when you have so many question marks on offense, having this guy locked in, who's going to be right up there with Jeff Stoutland as one of the best Eagles coaches period, ever, period. He's going to help Clint Hurt over these next 2 years kind of develop and, turn this, I don't know, linebacker, defensive line whisperer into the next great Eagles defensive coordinator, maybe even coach. Who knows? But I love the fact that Vic Fangio is back. The Eagles are 25-9 with 2 NFC East titles and a Super Bowl in Fangio's 2 seasons running the defense. And at that same time span, they've allowed the second fewest points in the NFL, the lowest passer rating, and allowed the second fewest yards per play. They were 5th best in the league in points allowed in 2025 after being second best last year. So overall, just a quick shout out to Vic Fangio during the OTAs and things like that, because I just fucking love how he's so real. You never see any bullshit with him, and he always tells it like it is. And we're just so lucky to have him. So the fact that there's so many question marks on offense, you have Vic Fangio locked in for the next, several years. So I'm going Vic Fangio is a golden god. What about you, Ryan?
Yeah, my number 3 and number 2 kind of work with each other. So I'll still start with my number 3. But the offense will be back on track this year. I know that's funny saying that as we literally just traded A.J. Brown, but we've already softened the blow for this A.J. Brown. We've added in the draft, we've added Lemon, and we've added another tight end. We Hollywood Brown, Dontavian Wicks. So while it's not certainly, you're not going to replicate A.J. Brown, but you've softened that blow on. And the offensive line is starting from a much fresher position than they were the previous year coming off of the Super Bowl, the long run. So that those two combined, and AJ, I think so far has been Jalen Hurts has so far been basically saying all the right things when it comes to his new coordinator that he wasn't last time around. There's just a more positive outlook that he is portraying. He's very gushing over Mannion, and yeah, I think that we are 100% going to get back on track. Saquon Barkley is even seems to be ready to go to kind of put last year behind him and move forward and to do better. So I look for this offense to absolutely get back on track. And that will hopefully help with my number 2 as well.
Brett Eclipse chimes in. Do you guys think the Eagles would have been more bold for Myles Garrett if they haven't made?
Oh yeah, 100%. Because if they didn't have Goddard on the other side and they still had Nolan Smith and Jalen Hunt, they would be more desperate to add, an edge player.
All right, I guess I'll do my number 3 real quick. For me, I want to see more production on first down. The Eagles had more 3-and-outs on offense last year. It was simply inexcusable. They had 38. They had the most 3-and-outs on offense of anybody last year. A league worst 38 3-and-outs. No more Kevin Patullo passing on 3rd and 2, running on 3rd and long for meaningless plays. They had a 5-game stretch last year where they had first downs of 13, 16, 19, 14, and 19. That was their longest streak of games in 19 years without recording 20 first downs in a game. 81 first downs in that stretch, the fewest of any 5-game stretch span since 2005. So Sean Mannion needs to get back on track with getting more yards on first down. I need to see better route combinations, better and improved and more consistent interior O-line play, both passing and run support. I need to see more coordination between the Eagles, passing attack. And man, like you have to make first down an advantage snap again, not just another let's not mess this up kind of snap. How many penalties did we see from the offensive line? Guys not in sync. They need to kind of reinvent themselves as a more efficient first down offense and not be behind the sticks. I mean, and there's a reason they were the worst 3-and-out team in the NFL. And for me, it starts there. First down. Okay. David, what's your number 2?
The offensive line. Even with the changes to the scheme and a new OL coach, I still think their identity is built through those trenches. And if the line dominates everything, from the run game to play action to vertical shots, everything opens up. The Eagles have long believed that everything, goes through their line. And if they can stay healthy, which is something they were unable to do last year, they can be one of the more devastating, effective lines in the league. And then that opens up, especially Saquon Barkley, who was hit behind the line more than almost any running back in football last year. And he gives the Eagles a home run hitter who can take pressure off of everyone else on that offense and dictate how many men have to be in the box to defend him. Because he didn't lose a step last season. He just didn't have anywhere to take one. I mean, it was just nowhere to go. And if he needs a breather, Tanks Bigsby is just ready for a huge breakout year, in my opinion. So, the line and the running game just kind of are in sync with one another. During OTAs, Saquon Barkley mentioned that the importance that he wasn't unable to do last year and the importance of doing it this year were those home run plays. He said that's what was just missing last season, because I don't remember how many yards he ended up with. It was 1,200 to 1,300. And that has to be like the most empty 12 to 1,300 yards I can ever remember for the Eagles running for in decades. Like I can remember when we had somebody hit 1,200 yards and we were all pumping our chests. It was something great. And last year that happened and it was awful. I mean, it was just a detriment to the team. So to me, it just goes back to the trenches. And if, those procedures that Cam and Landon had, and if Lane can come back healthy, I like what they have, and I even like some of the young guys, Markel Bell and Micah Morris. I think they're a little bit better prepared with depth, and they're going into it more prepared with, Fred Johnson back as well. Last year they were scrambling a week before the season started to try to find that depth. So I think that'll be the, second biggest key to their success, quite frankly.
That's my number 1. It starts with their identity, with the offensive line. I'm just going to jump in and say it. I think this is a major question mark. If I'm going to be honest about this team, I thought Tyler Steen was a step down from Mekhi Becton. We all know about Leonard Dickerson and Cam Jurgens. Lane Johnson got hurt. Jeff Stoutland is gone. From one angle, you could say, the offensive line is heading into a regression. And on the other end, when we see them healthy, they're the best in the NFL. This is 1,000% the biggest swing factor for this team, in my opinion. It's not talent. It's all about health. It's all about cohesion. So not just cohesion with Jalen Hurts and Sean Mannion. It's about the Eagles' offensive line being on the same page in run support and on passing downs. For me, it's so all about the offensive line. What about you, Ryan? What's your number 2?
Yeah, so mine kind of flows into my my number 3 flows into my number 2, where the offense is back on track. Well, this time it's definitely defense here, but the defense is not only improved, but it's also going to be more well rested. The offense last year was at times just disgusting, 3-and-out, 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 and the defense was relied upon to save the day. And at times they absolutely did. But there were times where they were just too gassed from being on the the field most of the game that they just couldn't do that. So you're going to have a much well-rested defense now that the offense is back on track. So it's going to be a kind of a 50-50 balance here of offense and defense. So defense has been improved and will be well rested deep into the season.
Fresh defensive
Yeah.
rotation.
Yeah. Let's call it whatever you want to call it.
Fresh defense.
Fresh. Yeah.
What about you, David? What's your number one?
Marrying the OC and the QB, I think that was just a complete failure last season. They were never in sync. I don't think Jalen Hurts had any faith in what Kevin Patullo was doing. I don't think Kevin Patullo exactly knew what he wanted to do at times, whether that was all his fault or if he was being semi-handcuffed by Nick Sirianni and the offense. And also, to be fair to him, he was also playing behind a porous O-line, as you just talked about. And, when you don't have the cheat code to just keep pounding the ball like a lot of the other coordinators have been afforded the last 4 or 5 seasons, you're playing in a big hole. I a lot of the hopes and prayers of Eagles fans are relying on Sean Mannion's shoulders as we go into the season. But Jalen Hurts, if he learns this system, and it seems like he has just completely dove into it, and more importantly than that, it seems like he accepts it and he trusts them, which is something I don't think ever really came to fruition last season. So if he limits the turnovers in the system, which he usually does, if he goes back to punishing defenses with his legs from time to time, he don't have to be 2022 Jalen Hurts, but he definitely has to utilize those legs some. And then, throw the ball over the middle of the field, which is something they're obviously targeting in Sean Mannion's scheme. I mean, Mekhi Lemon and Eli Stowers, that's mainly what they were brought in here to do. So, you add those elements to their offense, and with his legs, they're going to be very difficult to defend, especially in big moments. And I think that's one of the more exciting aspects as we head into, the new season, is just all of the hope that we have with this new offense. And it's not just, a wing and a prayer here that we're doing that one. It's they have built everything around it. Sean Mannion had say in that draft to some extent. I mean, because these players are fit for his scheme. And, that's kind of refreshing for all of us who've seen basically some variation of Nick Sirianni's offense since he arrived here for the 5 years. It's, pretty refreshing to see something new. And more importantly, for the offensive coordinator to have autonomy up to and including not being forced to run the run game the way Jeff Stoutland wanted to. This is all him. And I think that, that's going to bring a lot of changes that many people, want to wait and see it to believe it. But I think the proof is already there. They've changed everything, the personnel, the coaching, the philosophy. So I don't know if it's going to work, but it's definitely going to be exciting and very different.
Yeah, it's going to be really fun for like post game shows to kind of react and all 22 reviews to see how this offense evolves, throughout, each quarter of the 2026 season. So, Ryan, what's your number one?
My number one is Mr. Jalen Hurts. This is, this seems to happen pretty much every other year where, he does well, and the next year, again, new offense coordinator doesn't seem to work. He struggles a little bit. And then pretty much all season and all off season, he gets absolutely crapped on by the national media, by the local media. And, Jalen takes it in stride. He locks it away and it gets to work. And it also coincides with having an adult coordinator, somebody who, again, as you've been saying, somebody that he trusts, that he respects. And that clearly is a big part of it. And what happens? Jalen comes out and then he balls. And I fully expect him to do the same thing. I fully expect him to shut everybody up, tell Chris Sims he can absolutely button his top button and shove it up his ass. And he's going to come out like a man possessed, honestly. Look out. I'm so excited about this offense. Him and Mannion, again, everything is so night and day. You look back into the interviews of him, being asked about, Patullo, and, he's And he's like, yeah, like he's not excited. He knows. He knew. And you fast forward to this year, and you ask him one question about Mannion, and he gets a little, for Jalen anyway, he gets a little giddy. He gets excited. You can hear it in his voice. There is a difference, and that difference is going to show itself on the field.
Right. There it is. There is our top 3 reasons why the Eagles win the Super Bowl. Guys, if you're watching this one, throw your top 3 or 1 or 2 into the comments. Let us know why you think the Eagles win the Super Bowl this season. Again, we're recording this on June 1st. We are far away from the Eagles' regular season.
Very much so.
It's going to be fun to look back at because similarly, we also did a lot of prop bets last week that we're also going to be, going back on and laughing at ourselves about. So let's jump right into our next segment. I've got 2 rounds each, and this is a keep 3, cut 3 segment on the Philadelphia Eagles roster. And you don't know the next player I'm going to announce. You say keep or cut. Ryan, you go first. Let's do this. The first category is offensive skill position.
Ooh.
Keep 3, cut 3 without knowing the next player. Andy Dalton. Wow. Okay. Cut. Johnny Wilson.
Cut.
Britton Covey.
Don't cut. I did this horribly wrong, but I don't care. I wasn't about to keep. Once I hit cut on Johnny Wilson, I couldn't cut Britton Covey.
All right. Next up, we've got Will Shipley, who is making your roster.
Not happy about it, but okay.
Darius Cooper.
Oh, all right. I like that.
Grant Calcaterra.
Damn it! I knew it. All right. I should have kept Johnny Wilson. That's the one I knew when I said it. I was like,
All right, my instant reaction was how sudden you were about Andy Dalton.
yeah.
I was pretty.
Yeah. Come on, man. Andy Dalton's like older than me.
All right.
Does it change your opinion that he's already the number 2 quarterback?
No. No, because I knew that already. Come on. What?
You really thought that they were going to immediately put him to number 2 quarterback over Tanner McKee? Like, I think that was pretty surprising, to be honest. But
No, I just honestly, I figured they were going to try and work that in because
to trade him?
what's the point of having Andy Dalton as a number 3? You are most likely going to be trading Tanner McKee, so you'd want to get Dalton up and ready and into that number 2 spot. So that's the loser.
So if Jalen gets hurt on your team, we're rolling with Cole Payton. Is that who we have?
Yeah, I guess. I mean,
He's going to be healthy all year, though, so who cares?
yes, exactly.
Okay.
All right, let's see how bad I can screw it up. Go for it.
Can't wait to see Grant Calcaterra, Myles, Garrett in line.
Be better not be.
That's my nightmare right there.
That is absolutely my nightmare.
That cannot happen. Absolutely.
I'd rather go out there and give it a shot.
All right, David, you're up. Same category, offensive skill position. Cole Payton.
I'm keeping it.
Quez Watkins.
Cut.
Yeah,
Johnny Munt.
Keeping him.
figured.
All right, you've got 2 keeps. Damian Pierce.
Have to cut him in this scenario, but I don't like that.
Okay, 2
I
and
like
2.
him over Shipley, actually. But
All right, Cameron Latu.
yeah, I guess cut. I just figure you're sneaky.
Wow, I did not see that coming.
I don't like it either, but he's got to have somebody to mess with me.
He 100% does.
So that means you are keeping Daquan Wright.
I would keep him.
Yeah, so that's pretty good. Yeah, I would keep him too.
Actually, I like that.
I'm really hoping they keep him on the practice squad as the 4th tight end.
In my scenario, I'm trading Tanner McKee. So I really think that they'll try to use him as some sort of leverage.
Agreed. All right, Ryan, you're up next.
Redemption time.
This is big people versus little people.
Okay.
Starting off, Cameron Williams.
I like him. I gotta cut him now. He's been a little underwhelming for my expectations, not anybody else's.
Okay. Cole Wisniewski. Keep in mind, this is June 1st.
Right. He's definitely a little person. Wish I would have kept Cameron Williams. I'm gonna have to cut him.
All right, that's 2 cuts, correct?
Yeah.
Gabe Hall.
All
right, 1 keep. Holland Pierce.
I'm keeping Holland.
You're keeping Holland?
Yeah, he's a good dude. Met him
All right, 2
met
and
him at
2.
training camp. He's good people.
Byron Young. Okay. And then, last but not least, you are keeping Michael Carter.
All right.
It's not bad.
He'll at least see the field, right?
Yeah, it's not bad. Brandon Russell going all in on Myles is too risky. We have so many question marks. I agree, especially with all the contracts.
Yeah. And I love how I don't know if you guys saw it. It was like there was a 3-team trade that was proposed. It was us, Cleveland, and New England. We traded AJ to New England. We traded picks and Nolan Smith and Tanner McKee to Cleveland, and they traded us Myles Garrett and Grant Delpit. I was like, oh yeah, because that's perfect. Solves all of our problems.
Myles Garrett on the Eagles defense is holding teams under 10 points a game.
Not wrong.
Probably.
Very likely.
Yeah, not wrong.
All right, David, let's wrap it up. Good luck, sir. Smile Munden. Smile Munden.
Yeah, this will break Ryan's heart, but I'm cutting. I really like Deontay Lawson, and
I do too. Honestly, I am so happy with our linebacking room. Like, it's not even funny. And we just lost one of my favorite freaking players in Dean too.
And they really will have to cut one.
Yeah, I'm a big Trot Jr. guy. I think he's going to be.
Me too. Yeah.
Myles Hinton.
Yeah, I'm keeping Myles.
Nice. 101, Uar Bernard.
Yeah, I'm keeping Uar Bernard. There's no way I'm losing.
Dude is a freak.
Yes.
Right,
he's who I'm looking forward to most to giving me one of those smoothie icy things at training camp this year.
Dude, can you imagine Uar Bernard and whoever we get with our extra first round pick in 2028? Hopefully he'll be ready by then, and it's just woo! Like we got 3 first round picks, baby.
Like the year with Maylada.
Exactly.
I mean, honestly.
All right, you got 2 keeps. Keely Ringo. Bye.
I mean, he's good special teamer, but yeah.
Later.
Keyshawn James Newby.
Yeah, I'm cutting him too.
Yeah.
Okay, so that means you are keeping Micah Morris.
That's good.
I definitely would.
Yeah, that was that. I think you did it the right way.
Yeah, he's a stud to me.
Yeah.
Like, I think he was a 6th-round steal, quite frankly.
Agreed.
I like Morris, and I like Hinton. I'm all in on Myles Hinton and Mike.
I do too. Yeah, honestly, I'm a big fan of our depth, offensive line wise. Yeah, I really do. They're all the way. It does not matter the position. I really do like a lot of the guys that we have. Like you said, Holland Pierce as well, like one for me. Yeah, it's just there's not really too many people I don't like. I like Cameron Williams as well. I think he's just, again, raw and just needs to get molded a bit better. We'll get him there.
I think I had him as a 3rd-round pick in that
Okay.
draft. Like, I think I ranked him top 100 player.
Yeah.
So
I'm 90% sure we both did. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was.
And you mentioned the depth. My 4th, when I was going through this, for the top 3, my 4th was actually the Eagles' depth. I think that they consistently win because they withstand injuries better than all the other contenders.
That is very true. That is very true.
Every team deals with injuries, but how successful you are and how far your level of play declines having to go to a backup,
right?
Dictates a lot. And I don't think their level of play, goes quite to the sewer like some of these other teams, and it's been a big reason they're built to survive these 18-week regular season grinds, and they always seem to peak towards the end. Last year notwithstanding, they had injuries, they had play calling issues, just they
Offensive
couldn't
line
get the
was
snap off. Yeah, it was
Well,
just
and
that
it
was just a
wasn't even
mess.
an issue with the depth. It was just the fact
No.
that the starters wouldn't get the hell out the game. They were too prideful to not be in there.
Yeah.
That's what it seemed like anyway.
Yeah, and I think they're much more prepared this season with like the depth we mentioned earlier with, all these guys. I mean, just the ones Deibs just rattled off. I mean, they got a lot of big OLs that they can rely on this season.
For sure.
what's a bigger priority for the Eagles this season? Backup left guard or backup right guard?
I mean, I would
I would
have to
say
say left guard because of the injuries, right?
to Dickerson.
Yeah, I mean, but
I'm
if we're talking about backup, like I
Yeah,
don't think
because I
I
would
don't.
say starting right
Well,
guard.
right, yeah, I was gonna say like right. I don't think the backup is the problem on the right.
Because Steen is on his last year, his deal
Right.
too,
Yeah.
and I think it's a little telling that nothing's happened with that.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's interesting, like, we didn't even talk about some of the other guys, like Drew Kindle
Yeah,
at
yeah, that's
center,
another great name.
and, and what was the guy that we got
Didn't he
from
play
the
right guard during OTAs?
he did, yeah, and what was the offensive line guy? I just wrote about him, can't think of his name off the top of my head. We got him from the Rams. They cut
Yeah.
him.
Lampkin?
Lampkin, yeah, I mean, they just have
He's
some
just been
guys
sitting
all
there
over this
chilling.
line. Yeah.
So
So, I'm really excited to see their depth at OL this
and
year. I mean, it's
honestly,
pretty
I think that's going to be what to watch for training camp battles is who ends up being the backup offensive line.
Yeah, because they normally keep like 10 OLs.
And
so,
they're gonna have
it's
to cut like 3 or 4 real good dudes.
yeah, they are.
The storyline I'm watching during training camp, getting way too ahead of myself, is Myles Hinton at left guard. He got a lot of snaps there. Big Myles Hinton guy during the draft process.
Yep.
I can't wait to see how he looks on the inside.
Bigger than Myles Hinton though. You were glazing all over Holland Pierce.
I love
Let's
Holland
not forget
Pierce.
that.
That's true. Fair.
Yeah, I do too.
That's fair.
Dude is a monstrous man now.
That picture we took with him, I'm 6 foot tall,
Yeah.
and I look like mini me
Yeah.
next to
Well,
this kid. I mean, it's
I'm 6'3", and
it's unreal.
anytime I feel small, that person has to be huge.
I look at that picture. I've showed like 30 people this picture.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, how big is he? I'm like, this big.
Yeah.
They're like,
He's
oh my
boom.
gosh. Yeah, it's like, I mean, it was ridiculous.
Let's get some comments really quick. O-line sure needs to return to their peak. Agreed. I don't think we showed that one on the chat. The one thing I will give Sirianni credit for is his ability to manage rest guys in practice and such.
True.
The Eagles consistently need more health than most other teams compared to prior coaches in recent history. We've got Adam in the chat. What's going on, Adam?
buddy.
Thanks for joining. Nice to see the O-line coach get endorsement from Fangio as well. That is huge. Is that Chris Cooper, I believe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sorry, I'm not happy with AJ. We pretty much agree with that sentiment. It's bittersweet. It's mixed emotions. Wish nothing but the best for AJ. Happy about the future first round pick as always. But the Eagles offense is going to have to adjust. Jalen Hurts will have to adjust, and that's a question mark.
Yeah, but listen, like I said, they have brought in. I mean, we're losing AJ, but we gained Lemon and Stowers in the draft. We brought in Hollywood Brown, who was quicker than the lights on the wall, and Dontavian Wicks, who I think a lot of people are underrating and don't realize the value that he brings. You also have Eli Moore. Like we're deep now at wide receiver and receiving options, which is great. It helps to soften that blow. That's for darn sure. And you're also now getting the ascension of our true number one wide receiver now, who now it's his. And he's succeeded everywhere he's gone. He's won everywhere he's gone, and now he's getting the true chance to be the number one. So, Smitty, I have full faith that, when you look back at the lost, yardage, if you will, I don't doubt that we have made that up.
I disagree, Adam. I don't see how you're upset about the compensation.
I get what he's saying. I think when you look at the Waddle deal, and you're saying, how did you not get that? It's because you had to wait all this time, and unfortunately, in the NFL, when you know somebody's going to be traded, and you have to wait and sit for whatever, then that value just goes down. Unfortunately, it just does. You don't have that element of like, well, I don't really have to do this, kind of thing. They all knew that this was happening. So I'm sure that worked to the Patriots' advantage to, kick that 20, that first round pick to 28 and to kick that, third up to, a fifth.
Also, AJ Brown is a year older, which doesn't sound like much, but a lot of people in the league kind of view him as a descending player as opposed to an ascending player. And if you look at his stats the last 4 years, even with the Eagles, his yardage production went down every single
It did.
season.
Yeah.
Precipitously, almost by 500 yards from year one to the fourth season. And there were also some concerns, with his knee going forward. And in addition, the Eagles were accommodating somebody who didn't want to be there. And that puts them in a bad spot too. I mean, I kind of think it speaks to how great of a GM Howie Roseman is to be able to get a 1 in a 5.
Right,
I mean, quite honestly.
Yeah, agreed.
Because what did we get for Tio when that blew up?
Oh, jeez.
Nothing.
Did you lose it?
Virtually nothing.
Yeah.
I mean,
what did we get? Did we get like a fourth rounder?
Maybe. Yeah. It's a tough thing to navigate. And I think Howie does it very well. And, if this is the, everything that he could get, I would say there was no stone unturned. I would say the compensation is unquestionably the best he could find anywhere there, because there were a couple other teams in. The Broncos were in, the Rams were in, and nobody wanted to pay this. Even the Rams, who don't give a crap about their picks, didn't want to go this high.
Yeah, I agreed.
All right, let's wrap it up. David, final thoughts on this week with the Philadelphia Eagles? Time's yours.
Yeah, sad day. It's the last time I can wear this Eagles autism shirt, always open. I had to go through my closet and find it for tonight. It's the last night, but I agree with what both of y'all said earlier. I wish him the best. I mean, I have no ill will to him in any way as a fan, and even more as somebody who spoke with him in the locker room and at other times. He's a star player. And he could pick and choose whoever he wants to speak with in there. And I am a low-level media person in that room. Like anybody watching this show could probably name 12 media beats, and you wouldn't even realize I'm sitting there with them every week and talking to these players. And AJ went out of his way, more so than anybody else in that locker room, to speak to me on a consistent basis. And just personally, that meant a lot to me. And to have that kind of conversation with somebody as important to the team as him helped me dramatically in what I was able to write and what I was able to understand about the game. And he was just a good human being, and he would talk about things way more important than football, such as mental health and his battle, with suicidal thoughts and things like that, that you just do not hear somebody of his magnitude talk about. And he opened himself up, and however it ended here, his openness changed lives for the better. And if he saved one person's life by coming out and discussing how hard things are and how much mental health is important, then, hats off to him, because it was a pretty courageous thing to do. Because in a football room with a bunch of alphas, looking vulnerable and saying you think that way at times is not something that gets you far. So it was very courageous for him to do that. So I'll always look at him fondly, and I really, truly will miss him on the team.
Well said, man. Well said. What about you, Ryan?
Yeah, I'm piggybacking right off what David said. This is definitely a sad day, and it's a shame that this whole thing, took this turn, and you overblow, a late season, disappointment, if you will, and this kind of just snowballs downhill, and the media attacks him left and right, and yeah, you get this large, dislike towards a wide receiver that we were begging for. We were begging for. I remember literally just like I forget where I was, but I was just like I was just running up and down, just screaming, "We got AJ! We got AJ! We got it!" Like I was so happy, and he lived up to it. And all he did was have the greatest 4-year stretch of a wide receiver in Eagles history we've ever seen. We've been to 2 Super Bowls. We won one of them. I don't really need much more than that. And so salute to him. Hats off to him, and to kind of also what you said, the way he, again, listen, wide receivers are, a strange breed probably, and they think differently and all that, but to have the courage and to have the balls to say some of the things that he did, when it came to mental health and to share his own vulnerabilities, that says to me the type of person he is, regardless of however he's portrayed and however the lasting memory that we may have of him. I choose not to look at his last couple of games and define his role by that. I look at the man and what he brought to this community, what he brought to this city, and that's a championship, and that's so many good times. So I wish him nothing but the best in New England personally. I hope the team, well, listen, the team could do whatever next year as long as they suck the year but after that. We're good.
Wait, unless they play the Eagles in the
Yeah, listen, we can face off in the Super Bowl, beat him, and then they could just implode and just have a horrible, whatever. But so yeah. Anyway, long story short, it's sad to see him go. I literally sat there and I stared at my jersey, like a couple of jerseys actually, and just was like, man, this is tough. This is tough.
So what's so funny you said that is my daughter is 6 years old and she's watched every Eagles game with me. And you know who her favorite Eagles player is? AJ Brown. And for whatever reason, she loves AJ Brown. And when I think back to his legacy, it'll be explosive plays, 18 touchdowns of 20 plus air yards during his 4 years with the Philadelphia Eagles, and bringing that level of play as Ryan puts up the cup to the camera. Just the return of the explosive Eagles offense. It's going to be something I truly miss. I think the Eagles are going more towards a more efficient horizontal offense, for better or worse. We saw Patrick Mahomes do that previously in past years, go from a more vertical offense to an efficient offense, and
that worked.
Did wonders for him. Yeah. It worked for him. That being said, there were true strengths with Jalen Hurts and his arm with the deep ball that will be taken away. So there's a lot to be determined, and I wish nothing but the best for AJ. Bittersweet day, for sure.
Agreed.
Bittersweet day. You know what? The first thing I did when I saw the trade go down, I watched the Lions highlights of his first game with the Philadelphia Eagles. And man, he was unstoppable.
So good.
Like in the middle of the field. Watch the highlights of that and dominating the middle of the field. Quick slants, intermediate passes. Unfortunately, last year got away from us, but what could have been? So.
And just quick update, the Eagles got zero compensation from the Dallas Cowboys for Terrell Owens. Nothing.
Did they really?
Nothing.
Because we cut him, didn't we?
They suspended him, had a public feud with everybody, and then they literally got nothing.
Yeah. We sure got one hell of a year that year.
Yeah, 1,400 yard year, 14 touchdowns.
Broken leg in the Super Bowl. Still put up 9 catches for 121.
Were you at the game in 2006 when he returned and Lito got the pick six?
Yep.
What a moment
that was. God.
And I hope this never happens to AJ Brown. But before that game, they had a funeral for Terrell Owens jerseys, and we all took our jerseys and threw them, and they burned them and poured the ashes.
I remember that. Yeah, bring back horrible memories.
Yeah, I should find my picture from that. I was driving down one of the side streets, and there was a Terrell Owens jersey hanging on a fence with 4 bullet holes to it. And I remember thinking, "Oh my god!" I still have the photos somewhere. I'll have to post them.
Yikes.
It was obnoxious.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, good times.
Yeah, good times.
Reddit clip says, I hope he puts up big stats on a pathetic team. Jesus.
Yeah, listen, that's great. Again, I want a top 10 pick in 2028.
I feel robbed of a Diana Rossini tweet after all of this happened.
I know, right? I thought about the
I would
same
love to
thing.
know.
It's like she's got to
Yeah,
be.
I'd love to know her opinion.
Yeah, she's got to be kicking herself.
She's sitting there right now. I told y'all. I was right. I told you.
Yeah. Meanwhile, her husband's
Ready
like,
to turn the
her
page.
husband's probably like, shut up.
Did she get 5% of the contract? All right, let's go.
On that note,
Just jokes.
All right, guys. Thank you, everyone, for joining. He is David Neese, PHL on X. Ryan Reese at Philly Sports PSA. I'm Deibs, Mr. Crockpot. Thanks for watching. For David, for Ryan, for myself. We'll see you next Monday night. We will be talking about, I have no idea. Let's look it up. Bold predictions. Bold prediction show for next week. Our top 5 bold predictions for next season. And we're going to rank 5 players in terms of impact, similar to the keep 3, cut 3 concept next week. So for David, for Ryan, for AJ, for myself, stay awesome, everyone.